Hello and welcome to SuperLead Insights, where we share inspirational, insightful and actionable content to advance your leadership excellence. We've all heard the saying, what gets measured gets done. And any successful business leader will confirm how true that is. And as a leader, tracking metrics is an important step in implementing your strategy. It helps you improve that overall results, align your people and processes and systems with the objectives of the organization. And yet, so many get this wrong. And the impact of having wrong metrics not only hamstrings their strategy implementation, but can lead to huge disasters and costing millions and millions in fines and reputational damage. And for most organizations, the pandemic has also thrown a spanner in the works with their key metrics and performance measures, because the business environment has significantly changed, which then implies that what you should be measuring, how you should be measuring, perhaps should have probably changed by now, because consumption patterns have changed, distribution channels have shifted somewhat, new markets have popped up where old ones may perhaps have died. And now, many of the indicators that companies have relied on for years to measure progress or success, even a few years back, now they may no longer apply. And my question to you today is, have your metrics kept up with the changing times? Business drivers that leaders are talking about these days, such as innovation, agility, and the resilience of their employees, do not always fit in the neat confines of those metrics such as KPIs. And some organizations, they're turning to metrics such as OKRs to align everyone around these business drivers and the newer measures of success in the aftermath of COVID-19. OKRs, as you will know, stands for objectives and key results, while KPIs stand for key performance indicators. And OKRs, they tend to be action-oriented goals or objectives and measures. And KPIs, on the other hand, they are largely number metrics that measure the health of the organization. And while KPIs and OKRs evaluate business performance, they do so slightly differently. KPIs tend to measure business performance over time, whilst OKRs align the company priorities and measure the progress towards those future goals. OKRs don't always have to replace KPIs. They may have to complement them. And more companies are using OKRs and KPIs concurrently and leveraging the power of both as they implement their strategy. And while these acronyms are starting to sound good together, you probably are asking, where do we start? And I think the first thing to solve for is the alignment between the strategic intent and the metrics that everyone in the team is being measured on. We see many organizations suffer from the misaligned metrics as it relates to the strategy. And this is largely a symptom of the tendency to formulate those metrics at the top and then somehow, mandating them to the rest of the team and skipping that robust discussion phase where really team members engage deeply with the metrics that are being proposed. We also see, on the one hand, leaders also falling into the trap of having vanity metrics. And vanity metrics are those metrics that may tend to have this big wow factor or feel good aspects to them, but don't actually move the needle in terms of the company's ultimate strategic objectives. Measures such as we have got so many likes on Facebook or whatever, and we've got so many apps downloaded, and there are many of these going around at the moment. And it's important to really land the right metrics that are critical in moving your business towards your strategic goal. And with that, it's key that you have the input of your team and perhaps an external advisor, before settling into the right metrics that will be appropriate for your context. And we at SuperLead can help with that. Eric Ries, author of The Lean Startups, cautions against vanity metrics, especially for entrepreneurs. And he advocates for the Lean Startup methodology for setting the right metrics and getting the right product in the market. And the key components of the Lean methodology is build, measure, and learn cycle, which helps business leaders learn very quickly and make those fact-based decisions and make those fast before losing lots and lots of money from your funders. And with this approach, one can also be guided by the right metrics to determine whether they should pivot or they should persevere with the current business model. And for corporates, even if the metrics have withstood the ups and downs over the years, their significance may have changed, which means that how you target and how you measure them will need to change as well. And it is therefore critical that you re-evaluate which metrics you should be prioritizing, how you should be measuring them, and why some of those metrics are still relevant, especially in the aftermath of COVID-19. And as we all know, with metrics, the devil lies in the detail. Alistair Crowell and Ben Yoskovich, the authors of Lean Analytics, they assert that good metrics should be able to tick some of these important boxes. They don't necessarily have to tick all of them, but here we go. First, good metrics are comparative. They enable you to compare performance over time across groups of users, competitors, and help you understand which way things are moving. Secondly, they should be understandable. Complicated does not always mean better. And this is one area where we see leaders fall in the trap. And they should easily be remembered, which means if people can't remember the number you are focused on and discuss those numbers effectively, it becomes that much harder to turn the change in the numbers and the metrics into the change in behavior, into the change in culture, and ultimately into the change in performance. And fourthly, good metrics will also help you see whether you are looking at a sudden spike or at a long-term trend. And lastly, a good metric has a component of behavior changing, which means that it should help the team figure out what you will do differently based on the changes in the numbers. And as I draw to a conclusion, many strategic documents are being produced month on month. So many scenarios are being developed, especially in the aftermath of COVID-19. It is incredibly important that the metrics are aligned to the strategic direction that is being set for the organization. And now more than ever before, having good aligned metrics is no longer a nice to have. Because good metrics, they tend to help you clarify your business goals. And if used right, metrics can also offer invaluable guidance on where you can take some risks and perhaps where you need to pay attention as a leader, and may even hint at opportunities you should be looking to pursue further. So if you like what you heard, please hit that subscribe button and share this video with anyone you believe will be inspired by this video. And also follow us on our social media pages on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and on LinkedIn. And should you require a leadership coach or our support with your strategic, operational, or leadership initiatives, we would love to hear from you. And you can find our contact details on our website at www.superlead.co.za. Until then, go out there and super lead.